So hello friends, welcome back in once again, and in today's lecture we will discuss about ARC, automatic reference counting. So I have already created the project for the ARC, and we will implement and use how ARC works. So before implementation we will discuss some theoretical part of the ARC. Here is the documentation of Apple is given. So here we will read about the ARC. You can read here ARC, automatic reference counting. So what's the work of the ARC? Model the lifetime of object and their relationship. So by definition, according to Apple, automatic reference counting to track and manage your app's memory usage. In most cases, this means the memory management just work in Swift and you don't need to think about memory management yourself. So it's the work of the Swift automatically deallocate the memory of the object. So ARC automatically free up the memory used by object instances when those instances are no longer needed. So it means if the any instance is not needed, then ARC automatically free up the memory for that instance. So here you can read ARC counting apply only to instance of class. Structure and enumeration are value types and reference types that are not stored and passed by reference. So it means that reference counting is apply only to the instances of class. Structure and enumeration are value type. So in the structure and enumeration we can not apply a reference counting. So reference counting is incremented, and whenever you delete any instance from the memory, then the reference counting decreases. So here you can read about how ARC works. So here is the definition. Every time you create a new instance of a class, ARC allocate a chunk of memory to store the information about that instance. So memory hold the information about the type of instance together with the value of any stored properties associated with that instance. So here you can also read when an instance is no longer needed, ARC free up the memory used by the instance so that memory cannot be used for other purpose instead. ARC will not deallocate an instance as long as at least one active reference to that instance still exists. So memory only hold the counting of the strong references, strong instances. So how it will work, we will implement the practical demonstration here. Suppose here is the class and here init and deinit. So whenever the deinit function is called, so memory is deallocated for that instance, and whenever init function is called, so memory is allocated for that instance. So here I have created a project for that and we will implement it. Class we will copy from here. Suppose I have copied this code and I will paste from here, and how it will be called in our class. Suppose here I have created a function create objects, and or you can take any name from here like suppose here we are taking call objects three references of the person class. So we copy from here, I am pasting here. So here is the three references of the class person. So person is a class, we can check it here. So here is the person class, and here I have created the three instances of that class. You can check it like this. Yeah, so here you can check that is the person class. Person class is the helper class, and here is the view controller. Call the person class in the view controller and check how it is working. So here call objects. So you can create a new person instance. So here you are creating the instances of the person class and assign it to one of these three variables. Suppose I will copy here and paste here, and here I am assigning the reference 1 from the person class, and suppose now I run it and check what is the output for that. Yeah, so now you can check that here person John applist is being initialized. So this initialize function is called, but here the name is passing from here. So here John placed is passing into the name, and here this print statement is working here. But deinit function is not called because reference 1 is not nil yet. So here is the reference count is 1 because reference 1 is holding the person object. Suppose here we are typing reference 1 is equal to nil. So now I will try to run it again. Yeah, so you can check that now the both functions is working. Zone applist is being initialized and it's deinitialized. So now the deinit function is called. So if deinit function is called, so it means that memory is deallocated for that object. Suppose the another scenario for that. Suppose here I am reference 1 and here reference 1. So here I change the name. So now reference 2 holding the reference of 1. So now I will try to run it again and check what is the result for that. So now the deinit function will not be called. Yeah, so now you can check that the deinit function is not called. So now reference 2 holding the reference 1, so the deinit function will not be called. So here reference 2 holding the reference 1 strongly. So these three references is strong references because here we are not adding any weak and any other keyword. So it's by default it's the strong references. So strong references hold the memory until all the references becomes nil. So suppose here, and now I will try to run it. So now the deinit function will be called. Yeah, so here the deinit function is called because two references is becomes nil. So deinit function will be called. So suppose here I am taking another references here, suppose 3. So friend, I have also created the lecture on the topic of the reference type and value type and given the link in the description box, so you can check also. So here we are discussing about here reference 3 is now holding the reference 2. So now if I try to run it again, so now the deinit function is not calling because here the reference 3 is holding the reference 2. So now and nil 3 objects, and now I will try to run it, then the deinit function will be called. Yeah, so now deinit function is called. So you can check in that example, whenever any one object is holding the reference from the other object, the memory is not released. So now when all the object will be nil, then the deinit function will be called. So here you can read ARC does not deallocate the person instance until the third and the final strong reference is broken, at which point it is clear that you are no longer using the person instance. So whenever all the instances from the class becomes nil, then the memory will be released for that instance. So here is the next topic, strong reference cycle between class instances. So how strong reference cycle? So first question is that what is the strong reference cycle and how it's created? So so in this example, first we will create the strong references. So how it's created? So here is the definition for that. You can read, it is possible to write a code in which an instance of class never gets point to where it has zero strong reference. This can happen if two class instances hold a strong reference to each other such that each instance keep the other alive. This is known as strong reference cycle. So by definition you can read here, strong references never goes to zero. So it's always alive and always hold the reference for the other object. So we will implement it practically, how it will implement it. So here we are creating the person class. So suppose here I have already taking here the person class, and here we are taking a example of the apartment. So suppose here I am taking apartment, so another where in the person class, and here I am taking a person and apartment class. So here I will paste apartment class. So here every person instance has property of string and an optional apartment property that is initial to nil. The apartment property is optional because person may not always have apartment. Similarly, apartment instance have a unit property of type string and has optional tnet property that is initially nil. The tnet property is optional because an apartment may not always have tnet. So both of these classes also define deinitializer, which point the fact that instance of that class is being deinitialized. This enable you to see whether instance of person and apartment are being deallocated as expected. So we will implement it now, how it's working. So here we are creating the two instances, two object here is the person and the apartment. So we will implement in our application. So we are adding here and deleting the old object from here and deleting this code also. So here we have created the two references from the person class and other reference from the apartment class. And now here you can now create a specific person instance and apartment instance. So here we created the two instances of the person and apartment, and now we assign to the variables zone and unit A4. So here we have created the two variables zone and unit 4. So here we will assign these. So now the strong reference look after creating the assigning these two instances. Here the zone variable has a strong reference to the new person instance and unit 4 variable has a strong reference to apartment instance. So it's holding the strong references and apartment is now nil and tnet is also nil. So how it's working? Now the next part is here, that here is the zone variable of the person instance zone. So here we can call here from apartment. Zone is the variable from the person class. So here we can call the apartment zone dot apartment is equal to. So here unit 4 is the object from the apartment class. Now I am assigning unit 4 variable to apartment property. Here we will assign unit A4 is the variable from the apartment class and the property of tnet we can assign zone. So now they are holding the reference from the each other. So you can also check in the diagram is here. Now they are holding the instance from each other, so they are strongly reference to each other and strongly reference. So strong reference look after you link the two instances together, so they are strongly attached with each other. So unfortunately linking these two instances create a strong reference cycle. So here strong reference cycle is creating. The person instance now has a strong reference to apartment instance and apartment instance has a strong reference to person instance. So when you break the strong reference held by zone and unit 4, the reference count don't drop to 0. The instance are not deallocated to ARC. So now if I will try to this, so first I will run it the application and check what will be the result here, because they are holding the references from each other now. So now you can check that here zone apples is being initialized, but here deinit function is not calling because only init function is calling here, because they are holding the reference from the each other. So according to the apple, if I will nil both variables, now the zone is the variable from the person class and unit 4 is the variable from the apartment class. Now both is nil and I think now deinit function is called according to this. So I will try to run it and check the result. Yeah, so but you can check that the deinit function is not calling because they are only the variables for that instance. But the property of that variable is holding the references. So for that, note that the neither deinitializer was called when you set those variables to nil. The strong reference cycle prevent the person and apartment instance from even being deallocated, casing a memory leak in your app. Strong reference look after you set the zone and unit for variable to nil. So now I have both the variable is now nil. So after that, in this graph you can check now the our application in this after the nil of the zone and unit 4 is looking like that they are nil. So now zone variable has not strongly reference from the person class and unit a4 is not strongly attached with apartment instance, but they are strongly attached with each other, person and apartment. So here you can strong reference between the person and instance and apartment instance remain cannot be broken. So here they are the strong references and they are holding the reference from each other, so they are not releasing from the memory. So this topic we will cover in the next lecture, how we resolve strong reference cycle. So thanks for the watching.